Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Here's to quitting. Quitting the couch for a quick run. Quitting the snooze button for a morning workout. Quitting giving up after 2 weeks. You see, staying committed to your fitness goals isn't easy. But with Apple Watch, you don't have to do it alone. Because Apple Watch gives you real-time motivation, plus advanced metrics that track all your workouts, so you can stick to your New Year's fitness resolutions. And once and for all, quit quitting with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Looking back at 2025, one tends to reflect on all the things the year has given us. An awful lot of offerings, including rising inflation, rising worldwide temperatures, the song Golden playing literally everywhere, global conflict, Coldplay concert cams, and another Los Angeles Dodgers World Series. Well, at least we didn't get another Madam Web. But we did get some films that will make the bargain bin look like a death trap. Grab your bestest bottle of booze. You're gonna need it as we tackle 5 of the lowest rated films of 2025 on this edition of Grading on a Curve. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the penultimate episode of 2025, Grading on a Curve. How the hell are you guys doing? I want to say hello to all of our listeners around the world. And before we get into the meat of this show, I want to, a little pat on the back, not just for me, but for everyone who listens to the show, because 2025 saw this show be downloaded 4,000 times across 65 different countries and over 660 cities and towns. So when I say hello to the world, I literally mean hello to the world. And I could not be more thankful than I already am. So thank you to all of the listeners that tuned in this year. And I'd like to now turn this into a public service announcement, because on this show, we watch 5 of the lowest rated films of the year, so you don't have to. And because misery loves company, let me introduce you to the panel. First things first, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
You'll also notice that Carrie is still down with the sickness. So we'll have to give her a little bit of a breathing room on this one.
I could sub in for David Draymond if if he wants to take his honeymoon off. I could definitely do vocals for Disturbed.
That would be interesting. If you want to sub in for Disturbed on vocals, do they check your temperature to see if you can do it or if you can't do it? I think it's the first. All right, back on for another Grading on a Curve, because he cannot get enough of the punishment. Lyle Robshaw's back on the show. Lyle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Jason, but why'd you bring up Madam Web again? That hurt me. Why'd you do that? Why do we have to bring up Madam Web?
It's more a statement of things could always be worse.
You know what? That's it. It's an optimistic spin.
Right. I mean, we did get a Dakota Johnson film this year, and I'm sure somewhere down the road that will be talked about, but it wasn't Madam Web. Also, returning for another round of Grading on a Curve, Alex Leal's back. Alex, how are you doing, man?
I'm excited to talk about these movies, especially when I did the last one with the Netflix movies. I will never, ever watch Last Days of American Crime ever again. That is a movie that is never going to be in my brain again.
Yeah, that's when Netflix chimes in mid-movie with, "Are you still watching?" And it becomes more of an intervention at that point. And for his first Grading on a Curve, you heard him during Mocktober. Jay Macbeth is back. Jay, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man, but I'm not gonna lie. You put me through a torture with some of these movies. I'm not gonna lie, but happy to be here. Love it. Like,
I did do occasional check-ins during the prep process to see if you were still living. I remember I came by one time and you had a weapon, so I kind of walked away. It must have been around, mid-stretch. All right, so now it's time to meet the contestants in this edition of Grading on a Curve. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the Pentagon of Pain.
There's only one thing more shocking than the list of movies competing in this year's Pentagon of Pain. It's that for the first time in 3 years, a year-end grading special has no John Voight. But don't worry, this 5-pack from 25 will make you want to speed drink a 2-4 and pray that you don't make it out the other side of the box. First up is a film that will first make you question if they misspelled alarm and just went with it, then make you question your life choices while watching it. Sit down for Scott and Sly's spectacular shootout in Alarum. Next up, a movie that's proof that you should never judge a film by its title. Otherwise, you'll spend 90 minutes wondering why it wasn't called Medea's First Degree Murder. No trick here. It's Tyler Perry's Duplicity. Our middle entry is a reminder why Nick Cage's role in Willy's Wonderland is awesome, because he didn't say a damn word in that film. 10 points to whoever can translate what he says here in Gunslingers. Our fourth combatant will have you banging your head against a solid rock wall just as others are climbing up one. It's the movie that was rejected by Mountain Equipment Co-op to be their new employee training video, The Sound. And finally, a sign that times are tough for everyone when not one, but 2 Academy Award winners slum it up. In a movie that has so many flashbacks, it's its own prequel. Bang the drum for Tin Soldier. And now, brace yourself, because for the next little while, 5 podcasters have to purge all the things they've been holding in since watching these damn movies. Movie therapy is now in session. Let the ranking of the rank begin.
That's awesome. How many times have I said, Jay, that I can't talk to you because after watching these movies, I was like, I literally can't get into this because if I start, I won't stop. And I have a lot to unpack here.
And
so
therapy wasn't in session before the record, so you had to wait your turn. All right, so let's get into this, because what we're going to do is we're going to take these 5 films and rank them in amongst themselves. Golf rules. The lowest score, the better the movie. So the best film is a 1. The lowest film is a 5. And we'll average it out and say which turd will rise from the top of the bowl. What is the sweetest smelling turd in the bowl? That's what we're dealing with. But before we do, I need to point out, because I know some of these films aren't necessarily considered the worst of 2025. Right now, there's people looking at their stereos going, did you forget about War of the Worlds? No, we didn't forget about War of the Worlds. I've got a sneaking suspicion that film is going to be, if not just in the running, but may very well be the winner of the Razzie Worst Film of the Year this year. And if you're familiar with the show, you know that around March, we have our Razzie special. So we got to save some of the goods for the Razzies Grading on a Curve.
Oh, I definitely want to be part of that, man. Like,
man, you are a glutton for punishment.
No, but I love that Tom Green, when Freddie Got Fingered, was nominated for 11 awards. He brought his own red carpet to the Razzies. I love that. Like, you know what I mean?
If you're going to do it, earn it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Like, it's like, you know what? I made a film. I own it. You know?
Same as Halle Berry showing up and getting it live, too. She showed up and collected her award for Catwoman, I believe it was, wasn't it?
For Catwoman, yes. And Sandra Bullock showed up for hers as well.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock did, too.
Did a real good speech when she won it, too. I remember that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, Hilton stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, our holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
The Subaru Share the Love event is on from November 20th to January 2nd. By the end of this event, Subaru and its retailers will have donated over $350 million to charity. When you purchase or lease a new vehicle during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and its retailers will make a minimum $300 donation to charity. Visit Subaru.com/share to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita, which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right. Because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
All right, so let's get into the first combatant, Alarum, released January 17th of this year. Starring Scott Eastwood, Sylvester Stallone, Willa Fitzgerald, and Mike Coulter. Yeah, Luke Cage is in this film. Directed by Mike Polish, had a budget of $20 million. Worldwide, it only made $254,370 at the box office because it was only released in the United Arab Emirates, Portugal, Colombia, and Russia. I just want to bring out this quote that I saw from Leslie Felperin of The Guardian. She said this film is so bad, it shames American cinema itself. That's saying something. But let's get to the critics. Over Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 0 and a popcorn meter of 15%. At Metacritic, it sits at a Metascore of 23%. IMDb, 3.3 stars out of 10 for a 33% score. At Letterboxd, 1.6 stars out of 5 for a 32% score. And at the movie database where they're smoking all the crack, 57%, giving this film an aggravated aggregate of 26.67%. So, Stallone, in his second year in a row with a January release in a movie that starts with the letter A that has a 0% score. You have to be really consistent to be really that bad these days. Lau, we're going to start with you. Alarum, what'd you rank it and what'd you think?
Poor Sly, man. Like, for every Rocky and Judge Dredd, there's like 6 of these. Like, his plus minus is absolutely atrocious at this point.
That's fair.
This was the most, like, dime a dozen schlep you can find out there. Like, it felt like every other bad action movie you've ever seen, and every single one of the tropes is in there. The only part I found funny was when she gave the quick YouTube tutorial about how to kill a man with a shard of glass in the hotel room right quick. That was very funny to me. Set pieces were all right, but is it really that hard to act like the gun in your hand is firing when it's not? Because there was a lot of people firing guns that looked like they'd never held a gun in their hand in their damn life. They were just holding it perfectly steady and standing completely still and shooting it. It was so bad. My favorite line out of it, though, was, "We will purge you of your sins in exchange for the flash drive," which sounds like it was stolen from Trump's private email chains. So I did like that. It's a 3. It's right in the middle. It wasn't offensive in any way, but it was somehow a boring action flick with Sly in it. At his least amount of as I've ever heard him. He didn't have the weird speech thing going on. This was the most like coherent I think I've heard the man. So I guess it's worth a 3.
Is it bad that, and we'll get to it a little bit later, that Stallone is only the second best Stallone in the 5 films we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Right? I'm kind of with you on this one, though, Lyle. It's a 3 for me. And I think this film is saved a lot by Willa Fitzgerald. I thought she actually did a decent job in this, But I'll admit, like, before you get to like the really complicated like spy structure thing, like here's this group and everyone's talking about alarms. Like, that's great. Why? Who are they? Why should I care about these people? Right?
There's so much like he's a part of this, and you're supposed to be like, oh, but I have no idea what any of that is.
It's like, this means nothing to me. Please make it mean something to me. But also, dear movie writers, I need to ask, is it so freaking hard to give us a film with an ending, because we didn't really get an ending to this film? What the hell? Give me an ending. Give me don't tell me this is part one. For the love of God, don't tell me part one.
It seemed like it was a really long pilot episode for a CW TV show. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. I would, however, love to have a counter. Someone on YouTube make the video of how many nameless, vaguely foreign henchmen Sly Stallone has taken out in his movie career. The number's got to be in the tens of thousands at this point.
And the other thing too, and I don't know if this bugged anybody else when watching this, the bad digital blood squibs that they had going on. So, like in the very opening scene, right, when Willa Fitzgerald, knocks Scott Eastwood out the window and they land, the blood comes off the car before they land. I'm like, I'm sorry, did that slip in editing? Because it doesn't look right to me.
It won't be the worst CGI we see on any of these movies either.
Nope, and no. But yeah, it's a 3 for me. Carrie, over to you. Alarum.
I think you were being very gracious. I gave it a 5.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think
I
a
agree
5,
with Carrie.
5 is high. I mean,
yo, Adrian, what are you talking about, huh?
If 11 would have been an option, that's one more than 10. And so you had really good points in the writing and Alarum and who or what is this group?
Why is Gamora?
But this movie left me with more questions than answers. It was like, if this is a group of spies and everyone's trying to kill each other, but then they team up and now they're cool. So, it doesn't matter. They were on different sides just 5 minutes ago. Everything's fine. And now they're siding. Mm-hmm. And then you're right. At the ending, it's like, well, I tried to kill you, but here's the antidote. I'm going to save you now. It's like, what? That's not how you movie. If you want to stay the course, stay the line, If you're going to try and kill someone, maybe you might want to follow through with it. I don't know.
Most forgiving special ops crew ever.
Yeah, but it was a consistent theme. At least they were consistent with, and then you've got this other crew coming in and they're trying to kill the main characters who fled and tried to, quit and find a life outside of, the special ops. And no, now they're going to team up. What?
Yeah, no,
be consistent.
Right. Well, they heard of the team up that there's soda and pie afterwards. So I guess that's a reason to stay.
Can't we all just be friends?
I feel really bad for that resort's Verbo score is what it is. That's what I feel bad for.
That is going to be the world's worst Yelp review.
Just like negative 1 stars. There's an international incident outside of my room.
International incident outside of my room. People were being stabbed with broken mirrors in the neck. Would not return.
Alex. Met Sly Stallone in the lobby though, but that was cool.
Alex, Alarum for you. What you got?
I have to say it. I am putting it at a 5 as well. I have to agree with Carrie there. I'm sorry. So my notes are going to be a little scattered because I was also doing an assignment while watching this movie. But you know what? At least my notes are going to be as scattered as the damn movie. Let's be real. So I'm sorry. The editing in this movie is god awful. The editing in this movie is terrible. Like you could see the gun, like the guns couldn't even shoot. I don't know if you guys saw flash frames every single time you see a gun shoot. It's actually terrible. I'm sorry, Scott Eastwood did not look like he cared to be in that movie. He did not care to be in that movie. Willa Fitzgerald, I will give her credit. She actually played really well in this movie. Even Stallone, I'm sorry, they didn't know what to do with him. They really did not know what to do with Stallone at all in this movie. And you wouldn't know if the guys were on the good side or on the bad side. It's like they would switch up every 5 minutes. Like, what the heck? There's nothing. And then the ending was just so open. the ending was so open. I didn't understand it. It's a 5 for me.
Is it me, or just taking a look at like the first quarter of this film and just the level of dialogue? It felt like you could have recasted this film with like Isla Fisher and Vince Vaughn, and it would have been a good comedy. Because the level of some of the dialogue, I'm like, is this a comedy? Because I'm not quite sure. And then, of course, it just goes to like, bland action. There's something there. I'm not quite sure what, but there is something there that could be built upon, just not like this. Jay, alarm for you. What'd you rank it at, and what'd you think?
Just to make sure. 5 is the worst, right?
5 is the worst.
Yeah, 5.
Oh, wow.
He's like,
I'm being biased, and I'll tell you why. Because it was the last film I saw, and I was putting it off because Stallone getting that Medal of Honor at the Kennedy Center from Trump and saying, "Oh, Trump's the greatest president. He's second George Washington." That bugged me so much. And also him, Trump putting him, Mel Gibson, and John Voight as the ambassadors of Hollywood to redefine Hollywood and to make America cinema great again. That bugged me too. So I was a little biased. Didn't think the movie was, it wasn't bad. It kind of was all over the place.
Chaotic mess. It was a chaotic mess.
Yeah. You're putting it perfect, man. And I'm trying to be nice here because I don't want to be biased, But anything that, you got some guys, Trump seal of approval. I'm just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done with that crap.
Did I hear you say John Voight is an ambassador of Hollywood? Is that what I just heard?
Yep. He put John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone as the ambassadors of Hollywood.
Doesn't that mean that, like, Jason, you're an ambassador of Hollywood? Because John Voight has been on this show so much by association. I think that means Jason's somehow involved as an ambassador now.
Well, even I'm gonna say this right now, like Brian, a guy we work with. When's John Voight been relevant? What, Mission Impossible?
No, Anaconda.
Oh God! Oh Lord!
Wasn't that around the same time?
Yeah, and we still haven't forgiven John Voight for Anaconda. Although that being said, in relation to Alarm, Scott Eastwood gets the annual John Voight Award for appearing multiple times on Grading on a Curve in the same episode, because we're going to be talking about Scott Eastwood again very, very soon.
I know we are.
All right, next up we have Tyler Perry's Duplicity, released March 20th on Prime Video, starring Kat Graham, Megan Tandy, Tyler Lepley, Ronrico Lee, Joshua Adier. It was written and directed, naturally, by Tyler Perry. There's no budget and no box office listed for this film, obviously because it's straight to streaming. To the critics, to the numbers. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 0, but a popcorn meter of 29%. At IMDb, it sits at 4.7 stars out of 10 for a 47% score. Letterboxd, 2.1 stars out of 5 for a 42% score. And at the movie database, still smoking all that crack, 66% for an aggravated aggregate of 36.8%. And I wish this was a video podcast because I just saw Lyle's eyes leave his sockets and their soul.
It's got 66% somewhere. Someone gave this a passing grade
at the movie database. Yes, in fact, over at the movie database of these 5 films, this is the film with the highest movie database score.
Those are the most generous critics. Those are the most generous critics I've ever heard. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
And first of all, anything on the show would get 60 plus, but 66% for this?
You may not like me after this, though.
The movie database is like the participation ribbon of all movie aggregate sites.
That's insane. That's
all
insane.
right. Alex, I know you've been chomping at the bit for this one here. Tyler Perry's Duplicity, what do you have it as?
Lionel, you're going to kill me. This is my number one.
The kids aren't all right, Jason. The kids are not all right.
All right. How?
I'll say why. Okay.
Why
Just
and how?
met you, man. But like, come on.
I will tell you why. Okay. The beginning of this movie, I hate it with a passion. And I even told this straight to Jason right when because I even told him I could not watch it in the first sitting because I was exhausted. I was doing assignments and everything. I could not watch it in the first sitting. I had to watch it a second time. The beginning of the movie was a slog of a mess to try and get through because I'm sorry, it was a bit pandering. It was so pandering, it's funny. But because I already knew, I kind of knew, okay, it's going to be the guys. I knew this was going to happen. And then throughout the movie, it kind of got better.
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing. You sat and watched this movie 2 times.
Yes, I did.
You saw it twice? It was hard. The first time, man.
There's no way.
I watched it twice. I enjoyed it twice. Well, okay, but I didn't like it the first time. The second time, I liked it all better.
You hated it the least.
Oh, by the way, bud, no judging. No judging.
I judge you.
I'm kind of judging too.
I judge you.
Oh, no, I love that you guys are judging me. I love it. I want to have some hot takes right now. Going through the movie, I thought the movie was actually really good, and I understood the mystery and everything. And the 2 guys being in on it and everything, understood. I was completely fine. The one thing that just threw me to the leftist of turns was Fila ending up being one of them.
How did you not see that coming?
That's the thing I saw first. That's the thing I guessed first. I was like, she's in on it. The sleeping pill thing, no way.
Those guys. Like, how did you know?
I did not. I'm sorry. I did not. But that just threw me to the leftist of turns. Also, the main character did not need to do a 5-minute speech explaining what the movie was about. She really did not. That was no need.
Sometimes we need our exposition drops.
Didn't need to make the movie at all.
I'm going to say this.
Anytime he's doing something that's not a comedy, I feel like, dude, you're out of your element. Don't do that. You did, you failed, and he keeps repeating.
He did another one of these movies on Netflix. He did another.
Yeah, he did. He also had a show that Tyler Perry tried to make not funny, and it didn't really work out that well either.
I didn't watch that. I'm gonna be so real. I also didn't like the movie on Netflix.
This is 1 out of 4 films on an Amazon deal he's made. If this is how he's gonna go, but dude, it's gonna be bad.
It went from Prime to Temu, I think, at that point. Carrie, over to you. Yeah. Tyler Perry's Duplicity.
I put this at a 2.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe I saw it differently through different eyes, but I really enjoyed the movie up until the point when they got on the boat. First of all, I expected a little funny. I expected a ha-ha or a laugh out of Tyler Perry, so I'm a little disappointed that the turn that they took was a rather dark and obviously very twisted storyline. But from the moment that, the tragic incident happened, I was like, wow, the actors are playing this so well, and how sad, the emotion delivered in the widow's performance was incredible. It was a really hard watch, but it was enjoyable. I was enjoying the movie up until when it started to get all twisted. It was almost kind of like, well, we've got this great storyline, but how do we really wreck it up? Oh, okay, so let's twist everything now.
Oh, that's how we wreck it up. Okay.
And the moment that it started to get into that, I'm like, come on, you had a good movie. Why was it necessary to have this elaborate scheme Really? You went from a tragic situation that happens and the close proximity of, that it was an anchor that learns about her husband being shot while on air, like the raw emotion of her performance for the first half or at least third of the movie was so striking. It was so great. But then they started twisting with it. I don't think it was necessary, personally. I think I'm just going to end it there. It had a good start and didn't stick the landing.
Now, you brought this up as you were talking about the film, and I know, Jay, you were talking about this with Alarum. Seeing the name Tyler Perry in the title of the film, you're not the first person to say, oh, I expected funny. Should they have just called this Duplicity and just taken Tyler Perry's name out of the title?
I did a search, actually. There are many Duplicity titled movies.
There is. I did the same thing.
I think putting the weight of Tyler Perry's name, and I think maybe for search purposes, it was probably necessary to include his name. I don't know.
Okay, but in reality, no one's really going to confuse the Avengers with Marvel's The Avengers. And of course, I'm talking about the Ralph Fiennes, Uma Thurman, Sean Connery film from the late 90s with the first Avengers. No one's going to compare the two. But I could see why something is as normal as duplicity, like a simple word. And yeah, it's probably been done so many times over and over and over again. I can see why you want to find some way to, differentiate it. And they do handle a couple of tough topics in this, gun violence, racial tensions between the cops and the citizenry, being a news person, dealing with someone that that's been shot. Like, these are all topical things. And I think the first half of this film handled it very well. The rest of the time, I just treated it like your typical Hallmark Lifetime kind of mystery film. So looking at taking the Tyler Perry out of the equation, this is why I have this at my number 2. This reminded me, and Alex, maybe you'll agree with this, this reminded me about Brazen when we did the Netflix grading movie, where it very much felt like a Lifetime Hallmark style mystery made for TV film. And that's pretty much what it was. And I'm fine with that. And it kind of sat in that same realm. I saw the twist on the widow a mile away. But even if you see it coming, it doesn't necessarily make it bad. I think it knew what it was, stayed in its lane, and it wasn't horrible. It was a little too Lifetime for me. Lyle, Duplicity, how to rate for you?
Big old 4.
Okay.
It's a big old 4. And how old are you, Alex? If you don't mind me asking.
Sorry?
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. It makes sense that this is your number 1 because this is a Snapchat newsfeed video sketch of a movie. This feels like something you put on TikTok and like fake rage bait people for likes. That's what it felt like to me.
Lyle, this is better than the other ones. I'm sorry. This is better than
I don't see it. And that's the thing. You hit the nail on the head, Jason, with what you just said. I think it covers a lot of topics that could make an amazing movie with this exact same plot line. I think the reporter covering the death of her friend and having to read it on the teleprompter live on air, if you had that in a really good studio's hands, that scene could be incredible. The gun violence, the racial issue, obviously, there's a huge marginalized community out there that this speaks to because this stuff does unfortunately happen in real life. It's just unfortunate that it plays out like a really cringy Hallmark movie. Mm-hmm. And that's what it feels like to me. It's extremely cringy. On the body cam footage looked like a skit for social media that you put on. You won't believe what happens. And then there's like the guy in his house doing this for like just the camera. It feels like it was written by Chat GPT a little bit. The only thing I will say it has going for it is when the main character who gets shot is out for his run, he does listen to Out Past Midnight's song Ear to the Street, which is completely written about Daredevil from Marvel Comics. So just for that, It gets a little bump from me. It gets a little bump from me. But yeah, it's a 4. It's very cheesy. It's a really, really good movie. Skeleton made up with organs and actors and everything that just do not fill it out whatsoever. This was one of the hardest watches for me.
I could see that.
I can see that. Yeah. For me, it was like, I think the two guys ending up being like the twists and everything, I was fine with. I kind of saw that coming from left field. Like, that was way too easy to predict. It was just the wife. It was the wife. I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. I know, Lyle, you say it's easy. It
felt very Scooby-Doo to me. It's like the first person you interacted with, of course, that's the one under the mask. Like the least suspecting. What do you mean it was Old Man Groundskeeper Man? Like, what do you mean it was him? It's like, of course. Like,
yeah, but the Scooby-Doo movies were good, though.
But I think,
yes, they were.
I think, though, we're overlooking that the police and a police chief was involved in this grand scheme. Like, let's all suspend all believability and sense of order and just assume and be okay with, except that the police are involved in this. Like, if it were a rival gang, maybe I could follow that. But the fact that the police were in such a bad light and being involved in this, I think that was the part that I really had a lot of trouble to accept. I'm like, I don't buy it.
Why do I get the feeling that this was an episode of Murder, She Wrote? Jessica Fletcher would just sit there and say, bitch, please. Jay, duplicity, what you got?
This was the hardest pill to swallow out of all the films. I don't understand Tyler Perry's dilemma. From comedy to drama, every dramatic film it's bad. It's bad. You know? And I didn't like how he it felt like he had to put a stamp on the Black Lives Matter. You know? That's my take on it. I hated that it was a drawn out, like, I read critiques, and they said it's a drawn out soap opera. And I came to the conclusion that it is a made for TV soap opera through Amazon, you know?
It did feel very Days of Our Lives-ish, especially at the end once the twist started to come in.
It really did. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, my mom loved her to death, but my whole life she watches Young and the Restless. You know? And if you miss an episode 3 weeks later, you're still caught up. You're like, oh, okay, Jack is screwing that girl, and so is with that one. That's what it kind of felt like.
And it's funny because in this movie, you could miss like 45 minutes of it, and you could still be caught up by the end, too.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, guys. That's what I felt, too. I am glad we're all on the same page. We could have walked, take a piss, make food, and we're all caught up. You know?
No, we don't do that because that's why Alex had to watch it twice.
Oh my God, I can't believe that, man.
Yeah.
I set myself up for success to make sure that there's no situation that arises where I have to watch whatever Jason throws at me twice. If I had to watch Dungeon Siege twice, I'd jump off of a roof.
That's me with Last Days of American Crime. That is me with Last Days of American Crime. 2 hours and a half I will never get back.
Well, Jay, it can't be as bad as Alarm. What did you have duplicity ranked at?
Say 4.
All righty. Next up, Gunslingers, released April 11th, starring Nicolas Cage, Stephen Dorff, Heather Graham, Scarlett Rose Stallone in her cinematic debut. Yes, this is the daughter of Sylvester Stallone, Jeremy Kent Jackson, Costas Mandylor, Zima, and Brie Blair. Written and directed by Brian Skiba. There was no budget or box office listed. Let's get to the numbers. Over Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 5%. and a popcorn meter of 18%. Over at Metacritic, the film has a meta score of 20. At IMDb, sits at 3.6 stars out of 10 for a 36% score. At Letterboxd, 1.9 stars out of 5 for 38%. And at the movie database, sits at a 63% score, giving this film an aggregate of 30%. So, Jay, I'm going to let you lead this one off here. Gunslingers, what do you think and what'd you rate it?
I love, is it Steven Dorff or Stephen Dorff?
It's Steven Dorff.
Steven Dorff. That's what I thought it was. I always love him as an actor. Like that movie he did, I think it was called Somewhere. So good. Like, he is such a good actor. And then it's funny because Brian at work was like, what happened to him? He just takes B films, you know? I actually didn't mind him in Gunslingers. Nicolas Cage, on the other hand. Nicolas Cage. Holy shit.
He was just
that southern accent he did. Like, I just feel he knows he needs a paycheck. You know? And, just like that voice he was doing. At times, I had actually put the closed captions on because I was like, what the hell did he just say?
Jay, he knows the movies that he wants to make and he does it no matter what. Go get married! No guns!
Dude. I understand what you're saying, but he said for years he was trying to pay off his debt. He would do any movie. And I think that's one of those movies.
He just never stopped. He just still does every movie.
Yep.
This is what happens when you are burdened in life with the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Oh, well, the sad thing is, if you rewatch, and one of my best friends, I love her to death, you know, and she's from Africa. Been here 10 years. Salam has said Face Off is her favorite movie. You see Nicolas Cage's, when he grabs that girl's ass and he goes, aha, as the priest, you know, you just laugh. You're like, is he acting? Or is he just having fun?
Fair.
He went to the Al Pacino School of Subtlety.
You're laughing, dude.
The Al Pacino School of Subtlety.
All right, Jay, what'd you rank this one at?
Oh, God. I say give it a 2.
Okay, bold
It
score.
wasn't that bad. It Nicolas Cage, I would have given it a 3, but Nicolas Cage gave me a 2. I was like, God, dude, I could not get through his acting.
Well, I think Nicolas Cage gave a number 2 performance on this entire film. Alex, what did you think of Gunslingers?
All right. I know I have to try and redeem myself after duplicity. So I was going to give this a 4, but because of Nicolas Cage and how funny he was and how that accent is insane, I gave it a 3. This movie is just a little too over the place, but it's still it knew where it was going. It knew how it wanted to go and everything. And I was pleasantly happy with this movie. I think everyone did really well. I liked Stallone's daughter in this movie. I thought she was actually pretty good. They gave her a little bit more to do, I'm going to be honest. Because it was they shifted the the main protagonist towards like I believe like the middle of the movie or like a quarter, and it was to her, which was a little strange, but like I get it. Fine. Stephen Dorff, Jay, you already talked about him. Really good in this movie. I thought he was incredible in this movie, and it was a middle of the road movie. I thought it was pretty good, to be honest.
All right, Carrie, Gunslingers, what do you got?
I put it at a 4, but now I'm starting to wonder if I want to reshuffle my picks. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stick with a 4 just because I think the whole Western genre is a little out of my wheelhouse. It's not even though I love reading Elmore Leonard novels, it's not the type of movie that I watch. But I think this one stayed very true to the Western. I don't even want to say tropes, but just to the typical what you would expect from a Western genre movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Nick Cage. And
that should be a t-shirt unto itself. And then there's Nick Cage.
Then there's Nick Cage.
I have to say, I am grateful for Nick because he brought the only laugh out of all of these 5 movies. He actually, I couldn't help but laugh at him. And then I realized that I don't know if I should check myself because I don't know if the performance was meant to be funny, but he was just so funny to watch. I think it was the end where he was like, he wants to be a man of God. He wants to be a priest. And when he's like, I shouldn't have a sip of alcohol, and then he swigs back the whole canister.
Are we forgetting about the part where he's trying to lift up the going, help me, Jesus! Help me, Jesus!
That's the best part of this movie. That's the best part of the movie.
And I was like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, he brought the funny. So thank you, Nick. You made me laugh, and that aside, it was nice to see Stephen Dorff. He's always excellent. I mean, I have enjoyed his career from when he was talking to a chain-smoking cat in Entropy, So it was nice to kind of see him aged and a little gruff, but it played the part.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I think Stephen Dorff is actually very good in this role. Alex, I think you're right as well. Scarlett Rose Stallone got a really good part to play, and I think she's Sean in this one. She really, credit where credit is due, she was actually really good.
Oh, she was lovely.
Yeah. Heather Graham, it's a decent role for her. It didn't ask too much of her, but it's good to see her back in these things.
Can we give props, though, to the little girl?
Very much.
She held her own.
Yes, she's so good.
She
was so
owned
sweet.
that. I almost feel bad giving this movie a 4 because she was so mature for her age. And I'm not quite sure her age, but she was perfect in the role. I mean, think about it, right? They dropped this who's your daddy kind of drama on this kid, and she's just she's totally not okay with it, but she is so accepting of the moment. And I think, obviously this man has a gun to her, so she is holding her own in that very difficult scene.
The funny thing is, you keep on talking about Nick Cage bringing good laughs and all that. This is not a funny film, and I don't think it's meant to be. I'm fine with a little bit of levity, but there's levity, and then there's whatever the Nick Cage is doing in this movie. This film could have been a number 2 for me, but Nick Cage brought it down to a number 4. He did not need to make those choices with his accent. He needs to go down to New Orleans and Louisiana and apologize to every single old blues man and whoever he tried to rip off. Because, dear God, I needed to go to the Bob Dylan to English dictionary to figure out what the hell he was talking about. And it took me out of the film. Nick Cage made choices that were bad for the movie. I don't know why people just don't say, Nick. Maybe not. Just don't. Everyone else in this film made a decent movie, and Nick Cage made it laughable. It's a 4 for me. Lyle, what you got?
It's number one, dude. It's number one with a bullet. It's number one with a bullet. I love Nick Cage's character.
And then you say I rage bait. Come on. And then you say I rage bait. Come on.
Go get married. Go get married. No guns. I love it. I loved every minute of it. As soon as he walked through the door with his cross sunglasses on, I was like, I'm in. I'm sold. You don't have to stop me anymore. First of all, you had to sit through like almost a minute and a half of studios when this starts up. So I'm like, how can something this bad be made by so many people and nobody, vetted it before it came out? It's a bad Western when everybody is squeaky clean and looks like they just got back from the barber.
Right.
Which is what everybody's beards were like immaculate and nobody had a speck of dirt on them before the final fight started. I really liked it. I both liked the story. I liked everything about it. I also think it's funny. Carrie, you touched on it. I don't know if it's Carrie or Jason that said it. I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but Nick Cage played it as funny. He decided in his head that, no, this is going to be the comic relief. And I was looking forward to him eventually, much like The Quick and the Dead, the priest picks up the gun and is a savant with it at the end. He takes out like 16 people in the final fight. But I just think this was the best movie out of the bunch. I had fun watching this. I laughed watching this. I think the plot line, trying to figure out who the girl's dad was great. I think the idea of a town completely comprised with outlaws who have faked their own death and are now like living. I think that's an incredible idea as somebody who really, really likes Westerns, but I would no joke watch 3 hours of that Nicolas Cage character. Give him the spinoff. Give him the spinoff, please. Last thing I want to touch on, I've never seen a cinematic universe where people are so goddamn flammable. How many people caught fire in this movie? How many people caught fire in this? And so easily, and nobody made a sound when it happened. They all just flailed around a bit, but nobody screamed. Like, it was such a weird vibe to the whole thing. I loved it. It's my number one, and I will defend that on my honor.
Well, I'm glad you found something, dude. I'm glad you found something.
Lyle, you said that I was rage baiting when I said duplicity, but now you're just rage baiting with guns.
Because this is insane. That's why I love it. Jason knows that. I love stuff that's completely crazy. So
I mean, there's the thing, like this Nick Cage performance can either make or break the film for you. If you're watching it in the minute Nick Cage like no guns, and you're enjoying this, then great, that's awesome. But if you find it pulling yourself out, it has the potential to ruin the movie. There's going to be zero middle ground with Nick Cage in this film. You're either going to absolutely love what he does, or you're going to sit here and rage quit the movie because of it.
I do think there's some of it that was supposed to be comedic. Because when he pulls the piece of wood out of himself and goes, Jesus Christ, and then covers up his mouth real fast, like that's funny. And there's nobody that wrote that to not be funny. So I think there is some element of he's supposed to be the comedic relief.
Well, when I said that I laughed at him, but then I checked myself and I questioned if I should be laughing at him, you almost have to wonder or accept the character that he may have witnessed or been involved in previous conflict or be suffering some kind of like, PTSD or some kind of effect that makes him, his hands were shaking and he just seemed like he was dealing with some kind of trauma. And so I found that I felt bad finding his performance funny at times. I'm like, you have to, I almost want to see the spinoff. I want to see the backstory to his character and the why of, how did his character come about,
And how did he get all of Ozzy Osbourne's clothes?
It's almost like we need an official Netflix series, whatever his character name was, the Nicolas Cage Western Trail Guide, and just let him walk people through and do tour guides of the Wild West.
That's an aspen tree.
There's a cactus. Don't hug.
I would watch so much of that character. I loved it so much. And the best part about it was that was the first one I watched. So I was like, these are going to be great. This one's fantastic. Like
you were in for a long ride.
Yeah, it only went down.
A message from McAfee.
I'd say howdy, but I'm not a real cowboy.
And I'm not a real alien.
We're deep fakes, and because of fakes like us,
it's hard to tell what's real.
Unless you have McAfee. McAfee's scam detector automatically identifies text and email scams.
And even deep fakes.
And it works everywhere, even out on the range.
Yeehaw! But You're not even a real cowboy.
If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
This is Jason Momoa, and I'll be your finance professor today. Welcome to Banking Smarter 101 with Chime. Bam! First lesson, sign up for Chime and set up direct deposit. You'll be joining millions of members banking fee-free. Second lesson, get cash back on eligible purchases while building credit and a higher APY on your savings. That's how you bank smarter this season. Fa-la-la-la-la, class dismissed. Join Chime today.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and a secure Chime Visa credit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. Details at chime.com/fees-info. With a qualifying direct deposit, earn 1.5% cash back on eligible secure Chime Visa credit card purchases. On-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. APY means annual percentage yield. Learn about credit building and more at chime.com.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at amazon.com/new Alexa.
Next up is The Sound, released June 27th, starring William Fichtner, Elise Green, Mark Hills, Nicholas Baruti, Rachel Finninger, Christina Kirkman, Michael J. Chen, and Kyle Gass somehow. Written and directed by Brendan Devane. As with many of the other films, no budget or box office listed, but let's get to the numbers. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 8%, but no popcorn meter, which means that not enough people have commented about this on Rotten Tomatoes for it to actually register a score. At IMDb, sits at 3.6 stars out of 10 for a 36% score. Letterboxd, right down the middle at a 50%, 2.5 stars out of 5. And at the movie database, only a 55%, giving this film an aggravated aggregate that stands above the other four of 37.25%. So, Carrie, I'm going to let you lead off this one. The Sound. How does it sound to you?
I put it right down the middle. If you can suspend all sort of believability, then this is a great movie. I really enjoyed the intensity of the scenes where they were on the rocks, where they were climbing. And then that like crazy weird spider crawl was impressive. I mean, obviously, CGI, produced, but it was, I think that the storyline though kind of got me going, really? Is this even possible? This like strange voice, this sound. It was a sound actually.
Yeah.
That can have the control over someone to do
like a demonic
bad
presence
things.
in the sound. Yeah.
And you know what? I love the element of having like the shaman or the spiritual guide.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of appreciated that side of it, or that backstory as a why. But I just found that, I don't know, it was kind of right down the middle. It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't plausible. It wasn't believable. So it was just kind of entertainment for the sake of, here's a movie, here's an idea. The actors were fine. They were really enjoyable. I really liked the tech guy, how he kind of put it together with the voice modulator, that he almost kind of solved the why behind it, or what was happening.
Right.
Right down the middle.
All right, Lyle, The Sound, what you got?
Sounds bad, man. It's a 5. It is a 5 for me. It is it's really cool that North Face is getting this creative with their ad campaigns though. Because that's what this felt like. It just felt like a whole bunch of music videos of climbing, and there was a very mediocre horror movie spliced about in the middle of the North Face ads. Your grandfather died up there. It's on native land. A literal shaman came up to you and said, "Hey, you probably should not be around here. It's all the tropes from a horror movie in the first like 20 minutes, and then nothing happens until Kyle Gass shows up. That's what I have written down. In fact, my notes read exactly like this. Wow, there's absolutely no action in this for it being an evil mountain spirit horror movie. Kyle Gass is here in all capital letters because all of a sudden something happened that I was excited about. It took a really long time to get going, and I don't like movies that are kind of like that. It took a really long time for us to get our first glimpse of somebody possessed by the sound. When it did happen, it was pretty cool. The golem crawl across the mountain in weird, like inhuman ways. It was creepy. They did do that very well. The movements were really cool. But it started to get a little bit too heavy at the end too, where it's like, I work for the organization. Do you work for the organization? But then they don't explain what the organization is. They're basically now all in a rat race to the top of the mountain to try to get the magic talking rock. I don't know. I couldn't get behind it. It was really weirdly paced. I did like the main character. It's the only thing I will say. I think the main character acted it really well, except there were times where it's like he's talking to the shaman and he's like, you have to go up there and do battle with the spirit and finish what your grandfather said. Well, I don't know what to do. And it's like, urgency, my friend. He's telling you that the world is at stake, and you're just sitting there going, but I got coffee in the trailer and I want to drink that first. Like, I don't, there's just, it was all over the place pace wise. So it took me way out of it. It's my 5.
All right, Lyle, don't disown me.
This is not your 1.
This is my 1.
What do you mean?
Wow.
What? This
All
is
right.
okay. In all the grading on a curves I've done, this is the most spread out. No one has agreed on anything for the most part in this, except
Yeah,
you
no.
listening.
Okay, let me explain. Let me explain. First things first, and I think we can all agree, this is the film that is shot the best. It has the best cinematography of all of them. Lyle's looking at me like, really? Really?
I'll bring mine up when we get there.
Okay, fair enough. But here's the other thing too, is that in the past on the show, we have talked about films like horror films, and we have to admit that this is a horror film that basically kind of live in like the bad cheesy slasher flick. You know, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey comes to mind of something that we've covered on a grid and on a curve before. But at least this is a little different. This is more atmospheric. You know, I can get behind the idea of this almost unclimbable rock face on sacred land, and there's some evil spirit connected to it. And I'm even fine with the idea that dude's grandfather once climbed up this same rock kind of thing and was lost to the rock, or whatever the case, right? I can give or take the whole weird spiritual transported in like Native American axe fight that happens near the end while whatever's going on. That part I can give or take. But at least it reminded me a little bit of Blair Witch Project in that you had a number of actors that you're not familiar with. So you have no preconceived notions whatsoever to go into this, right? It's not like they're sending, Scott Eastwood and Sylvester Stallone up a rock face, right? Because then you have this preconceived notion of what they're supposed to be. This is a brand spanking new, unfamiliar group of actors in a very atmospheric, very stylized kind of horror film that doesn't lean too heavy into weird, trippy camera effects. That's the other thing too. It's shot very clean. This lives more in sound design, which I found really fascinating. For whatever reason, the sound actually connected with me more so than any of the other films. It felt fresh. It didn't feel too cliche, even though some parts you could sit there and go, yes, the whole idea of some weird government organization using this mountain for whatever reason, that was never really explained too well. But I could still get behind the atmospheric feeling of this film that maintained it all the way through. It's my number 1. Alex, over to you, the sound.
This is my number 2. This is wholeheartedly my number 2. I thought, and I agree with Jason on this is the best shot movie in all 5 of them. No debate there. I thought the cast were great. I love that most of them are just unknowns in my, other than William Fichtner. I knew him. I was actually surprised he was in this movie, but everyone else, they're kind of just unknowns to me. But they were really good. I like the main character as well. I will say that. I thought he was really good. I will agree with Lyle on him talking to the shaman, being like, "Oh, but what are you supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm just a climber. Like, you have to have some ambition. You have to have something. Like, come on now." But other than that, I thought it was just an interesting watch. Like, this one was my last movie that I needed to watch, and it was just really interesting to watch.
It's funny. It was my last movie as well. And I'll admit, I watched Duplicity first, and then I took one day and watched all 4 of the others. I literally binged them back to back to back to back. I don't know if there's a therapy session for that somewhere.
I was gonna say, did you have a Naloxone pack sitting around somewhere just in case something bad happened? Like,
no, I had an IV drip bag of Red Bull, so hopefully that got me through.
This makes me think that I'm the problem. Everyone's ranking the high. Like, I'm the opposite of most people here. Am I the problem? Is there something wrong with me?
You know what's funny? Normally it's Carrie that's drawing the what the looks as far as her ranking goes. So Lyle, I'm gonna say, what the dude?
Gunslingers was good. I don't care. I loved it. I think this one, it was more just the pacing of it. The pacing of it really hit me, because I like stuff like, especially for a horror movie with a good concept. I do think having it themed around climbing, I've never seen anything like that before. But the best part of this movie wasn't even anything scary. It was the conversation between 2 of the climbers when they first go up the mountain, and the guy tells the story about how he fell and saved himself, and he's with the girl, and you can tell there's some romantic tension there. I'm like, that's the best part of this movie, and it's a horror movie. So to me, there was just things missed there. It was not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's the worst out of all of these.
Jay, the sound, over to you. What you got?
Shitty version cliffhanger. You know? That's the best way to put it. Like, and I love cliffhanger. Like, you know, and I hate Stallone now. So, c'est dilemma.
Well, a literal cliffhanger.
No, but I just heard today they're remaking Cliffhanger. And I was like, why? But anyway, going back to that movie. No, it was Cliffhanger.
I don't know if I'd say it's cliffhanger. It's definitely more in that atmospheric horror, but yeah.
There's elements. There isn't that terrorist, millions of dollars in briefcases, blah. You know, but no, it felt like a cliffhanger. You know what I mean?
I mean, a little bit. I can see. I mean, obviously anything that rock climbing, but then again, you could sit there and say, well, maybe it's also, the beginning of Mission Impossible 2.
Do not besmirch Mission Impossible 2 and compare it to this.
Mission Impossible 2 had the best soundtrack of every single Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's true.
This movie had a pretty good soundtrack. I will say the music was a highlight, because those music video parts that I was talking about were actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you had Hailstorm in the middle of the film. You had Alice in Chains during the end credits scene. And yes, they went with an Alice in Chains song from the very first album, Facelift, which is the best Alice in Chains album of all time, bar none. All right, so Jay, for you, this is either your number 1 or your number 3. What is the sound?
3.
Oh, there is going to be some very, very interesting conversations to have.
The math is not mathing.
Wait.
All right. Tin Soldier, released May 29th in Russia and September 12th in the U.S., starring Scott Eastwood for the second time, Jamie Foxx, Robert De Niro, Nora Armstead, John Leguizamo, Rita Ora, and more. And by the way, if I messed up any of these names during the show, please kindly remember that I am an idiot Canadian in a basement with a microphone. Don't come to me for accuracy. You're in the way wrong place. The film was written and directed by Brad Furman with a budget of $45 million worldwide. It only made $89,572, released only in the United Arab Emirates, South Africa, and Russia. Over to the critic numbers. At Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 8% and a popcorn meter of only 10. Letterboxd, 1.7 stars out of 5 for a 34% score. IMDb, 3.3 stars out of 10 for a 33%. And at the movie database, sits at a 47% score. This is the only film over the movie database of the 5 with an under 50% score, giving this the lowest aggregate of them all, 26.4%. And somehow, Jay, it is your number one film. How?
Didn't think it was that bad. Jamie Foxx, yes, he was over the top as the cult leader. But keep in mind, I watched it with my dad. And every time Scott Eastwood turned a certain angle, he's like, God damn it, he looks like his dad. So I had that in the back of my head the whole time, you know? Didn't think it was that bad. You know, Jamie Foxx, I thought, was, like I said, over the top. I know Cult Leader is supposed to be over the top, but it bleeded into him in living color, you know? Sketches, you know? So, like, there's like, dude, come on. You were better in Collateral. But anyway, or better than Ray, you know? Depends on what your sauce is with Jamie Foxx. But, you know, with that, I'll pass. That was really the hardest pill to swallow for that one.
I have a feeling that Jamie Foxx's character in this film is what happens when Stephen Willie Beeman gets one too many concussions. Carrie, somehow this is also your number one, and I have to question if you movie.
I'm ready.
All right, bring it.
Ready. I want to say that I love this movie only in comparison to the other 4. It was so good. It was not necessarily a great movie, but we're grading on a curve here.
I was going to say none of these really are, but you know.
Out of the 5 really long, drawn out torture chamber 2-hour events that you gave us on the assignment.
I love you all.
This was the best. And I say that I really enjoyed Jamie Foxx's performance. I really think he was channeling his best Samuel L. Jackson. I think he was so off kilter and he was so unhinged, you know, trying to, I don't know, preach like, almost like to try and save the soldiers that are suffering from PTSD, but really in a mind control kind of way. Like he wanted to be their leader and, you know, basically create almost a cult of, he was almost like preying on the unfortunate situation that the soldiers were suffering, you know, and that made him so incredibly unlikable, but damn did he play it well. Like, mad respect, he played his part well. And I really liked the relationship between Scott Eastwood and Evelie.
Mm-hmm.
Evelie. Oh my God. I loved her performance because you didn't know if she was good, if she was actually on the wrong side? Like, who was she truly playing for? Who was she working with? And come on, the final scene at the end of the movie, I almost don't want to say, but it made everything okay. And that's what made this my number one pick.
Lyle, it's your number two.
Carrie, I am right there with you. This was the best Marvel makes a Call of Duty movie that isn't named either of those things I've ever seen. That's what it felt like. It felt like Marvel made Call of Duty Black Ops the movie. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Jamie Foxx obviously is the star here with his very villainesque performance. Eastwood was great. I love the premise of he's out. The only thing that kind of drew me out of the whole thing was the whole, is his wife dead or alive? It's like, that feels like something you should know for a fact, and Jamie Foxx shouldn't have the power to keep that information from you.
Yeah.
But him storming in the sprinklers with gasoline in them, him having the flashbacks when he goes into the room where they used to keep the kids, and like they went into how people would give up their kids to the cult. It was better than it had any right to be. Was it perfect? No. Would I pay to see it? No. But for grading on a curve standards, if it wasn't for Nicolas Cage and Gunslingers, this would be my one for sure. I think this is the best shot movie of the bunch, not the sound. I liked what they did here. I think it looked the most professional. It looked the most like AAA movie, if that is a way to say it, I guess. But it looked the most up there, theatrical release worthy of the bunch. So I really liked it. That's why it's my two.
Alex, it's your four.
Yep. Yeah, this one was my four. This, to be honest, for me, it didn't work for me. I did like Jamie Foxx in this. I will say I liked how he played his like villain role as the Bukashi. Scott Eastwood was a lot better in this movie. I will say he was a lot better than in Alarum. And I also really liked Evely. She was really good in this. I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the cast and I saw Rita Ora in this, I was like, wait, what? Why is
It's weird.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm like, what? And then I'm sorry, Robert De Niro was just so like he was so forced into the storyline.
That's exactly what I have in my notes too, Alex. It's like if
Thank
somebody
you.
took a shoehorn and they were like, "Well, we need somebody with name recognition in here, and he'll take the money, so let's just put him right up there." Like,
I want to find out what his dollar per word ratio is.
oh, he got paid more than Eastwood.
Yeah,
I
probably.
guaranteed he got paid more than Eastwood to be in that. There's no way he wouldn't sign off on that unless there was some kind of guarantee.
And then the script just had to force him to like be like, oh, he already knew about the Bukashi. He knew everything about Jamie Foxx's character and everything like that. Yeah, no, he didn't. How like we barely get to see him at all in the movie. He comes back towards like the end of the movie and he's like, oh, I already know everything about him, this and that.
It feels like it got more, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I felt. It got more crazy and far-fetched as we went. Like it started real gritty, but then by the end of it, we're in a lights flashing arena in a death fight between Jamie Foxx and Eastwood while his maybe dead wife watches on and everyone's chanting and beating drum. It went like almost sci-fi by the end of it.
Yep. And I think the flashbacks and everything just were just way too chaotic. Like it was just so like flash framed, way too chaotic for me. There were points where it made sense in the story. I understood it. But then there were points where it's like, okay, maybe don't. It just was way too chaotic for me.
Maybe don't. Just maybe don't.
Maybe don't. That's the review.
I want to bring up a movie that is, as of this year, 21 years old. Okay? Man on Fire, starring Denzel Washington. Directed by Tony Scott. I loved that film because at the time, in 2004, a lot of films were doing like those weird film hits and frame flashes and all that, like really kind of making it look stylish at the time. It's a very Tony Scott look in that film. This is 21 years later, and that's not Tony Scott directing. Tin Soldier is my 5. And let me start off with why. First things first. I also want to bring up Denzel Washington here. This felt like Jamie Foxx was doing an imitation of Denzel Washington, doing an imitation of what Jamie Foxx would sound like if he was wearing a buckwheat wig. That's what we got out of all of this. Nice to see that the cast and crew got a free Jamie Foxx concert, because apparently that's what it takes to get him into this. There's so many flashbacks in this, and I'm starting to lose track of when is I watch Doctor Who, so I'm fine with wibbly wobbly timey wimey, but I was starting to get annoyed with the number of flashbacks. Like, can we do a little bit of linear storytelling here, people? Yes, I agree that the role of Evely is well done. I didn't mind Robert De Niro in this. I didn't mind having someone with a little bit of gravitas as this, government worker who happens to also be funding the Bakushi. And I like the idea that the government was actually funding the Bakushi in order to be able to, kind of rebuild these soldiers, and then the Bakushi kind of goes a different way. That part I'm fine with. I just found it, a lot of the camera work and a lot of the lens work, because there's a lot of lens distortion in this film. I found it a little nauseating. I think that's why I like the sound way more than this, because the sound felt clean. The sound could have lived in a whole lot of this lens distortion kind of look, but it kept it clean, and it took away, it made it more substance instead of style. This felt like so much style over substance that it's hard to kind of get into the story.
What I will say, there was one point when I was watching the sound to compliment its camera work where I did think to myself, I can't tell if this is a set or if they're really on a mountain. And if I'm thinking that, you're doing something right? Because if I'm looking at this and I'm like, that'd be really hard to film if you were actually on the side of a mountain, but you kind of can't convince me that they're not. So I guess it does. There is something there. You're right.
Yeah. The other thing too, and someone mentioned the end fight scene in the arena of death or whatever it is that they're by this thing. Who the did the sound design for this fight? Because they're sneaking in crowd noise like it's UFC 300 and something, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you're not getting arena crowd noise when you're by a dam. You're not getting tribal drums. I'm with you. Get all the power on the lights there. I'm fine with this. Make it look like some kind of. And they film it, and you don't see the crowd at all.
And you hear her scream his name from 200 yards away in the nosebleed seats of said UFC 300 fight.
Over the sound of a dam. I'm sorry. That ain't happening. And that took me out of it. I'm like, okay, bring him to the arena. Cool. Maybe the arena's inside. Nope. Forget that. So sound design completely out the window.
Yeah, but Jamie Foxx has the best line in any of these movies when he tries to drive him off the cliff and it doesn't work, and he's like, fear isn't a choice. I was like, that's exactly where I was like, oh no, this is a good movie. I can't make fun of this.
Oh, I can make fun of this, and just take the buck wig off for a second here. And yes, I completely understand. You had, and I can't remember the actor who did it in Surrogates, who was playing the cult leader, and had the bad dread wig on and all that. But I mean, I felt that worked better because it wasn't so much a, accelerated up to 15 Red Bull kind of performance. Jamie Foxx felt a little over the top in this.
Especially when you're dealing with a subject that is pretty hard, like PTSD. So you're telling me all these combat veterans with extreme military training that are haunted by the terrible things these people have to do for a living are easily swayed by a Macho Man Randy Savage-like character singing him songs in a field. That is one thing. I'm like, I don't feel like people would fall for this kind of a cult leader in reality, because they would feel like this isn't genuine. He's up there just saying quotes and singing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you could have done something more with this, and that's not what Sam Wilson would do with combat veterans. Sam Wilson would take care of them.
We can't bring up Kev. We can't get into the Marvel because I'll extend the timeline on this by 3 hours, and I don't want you to have to edit that out.
Oh, you're a big Marvel fan too?
I am a massive Marvel fan.
Hey!
All right, so let's go through the numbers. Carrie, please let our listeners know from 1 to 5, best to worst, what are your movies?
In my opinion, I think Tin Soldier was the number 1. I have Tyler Perry's Duplicity at the number 2. I had The Sound right down the middle at 3, and Gunslingers at 4, and Putting Alarm at 5.
Lyle, 1 to 5, what you got?
Gunslingers number 1, no guns. Tin Soldiers number 2. Alarum, which I need a big stiff drink of after this, is 3. Tyler Perry Duplicity is 4. And Sound is 5. The Sound is...
All right, Alex, what you got? 1 to 5.
Well, I have Tyler Perry's Duplicity at number 1, The Sound at number 2. I am not doing the accent, even though I wish I could do the Nicolas Cage accent, but Gunslingers at number 3, Tin Soldier at number 4, and Scott Eastwood and Sylvester Stallone's Alarum at number 5.
All right, and I have The Sound at number 1, Duplicity at number 2, Alarum at number 3, Gunslingers number 4, and Tin Soldier at number 5. We do have some connection issues going on right now, so Jay's picks were Tin Soldier at number 1, Gunslingers at number 2, The Sound at number 3, Duplicity at number 4, and Alarum at number 5. So we actually have to go to a tiebreaker with our number 1 because we have a 2-way tie in the number 1 spot. For your average, Alarum sits at a 4.2 average as the worst film. Both Gunslingers and The Sound sit at 2.8 as an average, meaning Duplicity and Tin Soldier both sit at an average of 2.6 out of 5, but Tin Soldier has the most number 1 votes of the two of them. So Tin Soldier is your number 1 film, the best of the worst, the cream of the crap, somehow, some way. Now, I was going to take a second, go around the table here. Lau, I'm going to start with you. Of these 5 films, because of course we have the Razzies in a few months. Normally the Razzies lean into the bigger films, or at least the ones that make the most noise. Obviously we talked about War of the Worlds earlier. Do you see any of these 5 films being nominated at the Razzies?
That's a good question because there was some really high profile stinkers this year. That's the thing. If anyone was going to get, I could see Nicolas Cage's performance in Gunslingers getting a Razzie nod. I could see people looking at that and just being like, that makes a mess of the whole movie, just like you said it. I take it as hilarious, so I love it. But I could see how somebody who sat down and was like, I really want to see this serious Western play out and have it kind of torpedoed by whatever the hell he had going on. I think he could get nominated, but I don't think any of the movies could get nominated. Because first of all, War of the Worlds is probably going to sweep it.
Right.
But second of all, there's been a lot of high profile stinkers. And when my bottom of the barrel was The Sound, which was more badly paced and kind of boring, I don't think so. I don't think I can see any of these getting nominated. If I had to pick one to do it, it would probably be Gunslingers just because of Nick Cage. All
right. Jay, can you see any of these 5 films being nominated this year for Worst Movie of the Year or any other award at the Razzies?
Well, just because Stallone.
All right. Alex, any of these films up for any of the awards?
I have to agree with Jay. I think it has to be Alarum, in my opinion. Alarum was just, especially with like high profile names like Sylvester Stallone as well, and with Scott Eastwood. Also, I still don't understand how Tin Soldier won, but you know what? I'll just continue with that. But yeah, I think if I have to see from like all of these 5, it would have to be Alarum. There have been some pretty bad movies this year, especially with like War of the Worlds. Snow White will probably get nominated, in my opinion.
Yo, I didn't even think of that one, but you're right. Snow White's definitely going to be on the list there.
That Captain America, Brave New World, that will definitely be nominated.
Wait. Yes. Who is this kid, Jason? Who is this kid? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
The worst thing I could say about Captain America, Brave New World is that you could watch the trailer and you've seen the whole film.
Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is the Red Hulk. It was a good poll. That was a good idea, and I think he was good in it.
And that can't have been easy to recast that role.
No.
Really?
No. Especially, you're coming off Mark Ruffalo. You're coming off Hulk for everybody else in the world. Like, he was the best Hulk.
An idea is a good idea, but when you put a head in front of it...
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. And Anthony Mackie.
Fair.
Anthony Mackie's no Chris Evans.
I think Brave New World could get nominated.
All right, Carrie, over to you. Alarum, Duplicity, Gunslingers, The Sound, or Tin Soldier. Can you see us talking about any of these during the Razzie special in March?
Well, I don't know that these movies had a real fair shot because you mentioned that a lot of them had very limited theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
And even like now, they're not easily accessible on streaming services. So I think they're going to kind of go under the radar. However, I think my fear is more for Scott Eastwood, that he's been in 2 movies that kind of tanked this year. And I was just looking it up. He's done 4 movies this year. So he was also in Regretting You and Stolen Girl, and then Tin Soldier and Alarum.
Well, he's got a better average than Sydney Sweeney, so he should be okay.
Oh, yeah. That movie she was in this year is definitely going to be nominated.
All right. And I'm kind of in the same boat as Lyle. I have a feeling that Nicolas Cage will get nominated for Worst Supporting Actor. I could see The Sound being nominated for Most Intrusive Soundtrack, perhaps. But, because there are times when it's like, ooh, that seems a little harsh for the scene that we're looking at. But okay, that's fine. I still think War of the Worlds is going to reign supreme at the Razzies this year.
Oh,
it's just so out there.
That wasn't a movie. It wasn't a movie.
No, it's the best Amazon Prime commercial you can ever get.
It felt like an episode of a show. They were trying to be like sci-fi ridiculously with Rob Dyrdek. That's what they were going for. Like a sci-fi version of that. It was so strange.
And then you just have Ice Cube reactions.
Yeah, that was the oddest thing I've ever seen, I think. Sat down and watched expecting a movie and got that.
All right. Well, Jay, Alex, Lyle, and Carrie, thank you guys so much for sitting through all 5 of these films. And to you, our listeners, I want to give a special shout out to all of you because 2025 has been a fantastic year for this podcast. We are recording this before the winners are announced at the Canadian Podcast Awards. So we're not quite sure who wins as of recording, but I want to take a moment and say thank you to everyone who did vote for us for both It's Not That Bad and There Can Only Be One. It has been a watershed moment for these podcasts to get nominated at the Canadian Podcast Awards with a number of fantastic other podcasts. Like if you're listening to podcasts in Canada, you are being well served by the entire community. So thank you all so much for even giving these shows a modicum of notice at all. But until next time and next year, you guys know the drill. If there's a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in a weird Nicolas Cage accent that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our merch section because anything you buy goes directly to the production of this show. I'm Jay. He's Lyle. He's Alex. She's Carrie. He's Jay. You guys are all awesome. This is Grading on a Curve on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.